Yes, man. When I hear that, it just makes me go. Can I get it again? Tell everybody here and there and everywhere that the Ubuntu King is about to do his serious thing. So today, guys, I want to talk to you about why Black people struggle to work together. Why most people are anti-Ubuntu and can't seem to get themselves together no matter what. It's a real struggle, you know? And it's not about intelligence, it's not about talent. It's definitely not about lack of resources. Everywhere Black people exist, we create culture, innovation, wealth, and the movements that shape the world. Yet when it comes time to cooperate and to build together, to trust one another long enough to win, something breaks down. That breakdown has a name, and it's the opposite of Ubuntu. Ubuntu says, I am because we are. But anti Ubuntu says, I'll survive even if you don't. You see it everywhere. You see it in business partnerships that collapse over egos. You see it in our community projects that die from mistrust. In Pan African conversations that turn into blame instead of solutions. In African nations divided by borders that were never ours. In the diaspora where the proximity exists, but unity does not exist. Wow. Anti-Ubuntu teaches competition, where cooperation is required, suspicion, where trust should be built, and a short-term survival, where long-term power is possible. This isn't accidental. Division has always been profitable for someone else. But the real crisis isn't what was done to us. The crisis is that we've been conditioned to do it to each other. Until we confront the truth, there will be no real Black wealth, no global Black power, no future to build on our terms. This conversation isn't comfortable, but you know what? It's necessary because unity is not a slogan, it's a discipline. And Ubuntu is not dead, it's just waiting to be practiced again. So, brothers and sisters, we're confronted with this every single day. People can get together to sell drugs and destroy our communities, but they can't get together to build community centers. They can't get together, okay, to teach the children how to get into better schools. They can't get together to help men and women and families feed themselves. They can't get together and get a business that's legitimate, but they can get together and sell weed. They can get together and sell drugs. They can get together and do all types of things that are detrimental to our community. Anything that's anti-Ubuntu is what we're going to do. So automatically, without even knowing anything about Ubuntu, the first thing that you're going to say is, what is Ubuntu? And how come it's not working in Africa? And the simple answer is this, because people don't want it to work. The rich elites, they live well. I was looking at a video today about Madagascar, and it said 80% of the people in Madagascar make less than $2 a day. I saw a woman with a rock and a hammer, and she beat that hammer until she made those rocks into little pebbles and stones. And she was going to take this to the other side of town where people live high up on the hill, okay? And they're going to do their construction with it. This was a woman. Men can't find any work. And I kept saying to myself, this is a beautiful place. It's like paradise, the most biodiversified place in the world. And yet and still, People can't work together. The richest guy in the place is some white dude. So we can't see opportunity if we wanted to. We have it self prescribed in our head. I remember when I was coming up and I was a young dude and I used to hang out with some young people and I used to always be a dreamer. So Dollar Bill would get up there in the middle of the night. Sometimes we'd get out there and rap. And I tell people about the places that I wanted to go, the things that I wanted to see, and the things that I wanted to do. And people used to laugh at me. What do you mean, Dollar Bill? You want to have this kind of money in the bank? What do you mean you want to have a beautiful house? You want to travel. You want to do all of these things. You want to have a beautiful wife. You want to have beautiful children. Who are you? You're from the project. You're from the permanent underclass. You can't never do anything. You ain't about nothing. You ain't never had nothing. And you ain't going to be nothing. You remember that soliloquy from Claudine in the 1970s? Well, they said the same thing to me. You know, it's unfortunate. I tell my students all the time. I said, I wasn't supposed to make it. They even had my mother convinced that I was going to be going to jail, that I was going to be a menace to society. All because of a misunderstanding that I had in kindergarten with this little girl, still a friend of mine, and she comes on TikTok quite frequently. She used to like me, and I didn't like her. I liked this other girl. And I didn't know any other way because she kept bothering me just to strike out at her. And I ended up hitting my kindergarten teacher. What did I do that for? She was the nicest old little white woman in the world. I got thrown out of an entire borough in New York City. But it was the greatest thing that happened to me because I went down in the 70s from the Bronx to Harlem. And I think it was PS 76 at the time. Man, it changed my life because Harlem at that time was a magical place. It was a place where Black people gathered from all over the world, you know, and just seeing the bank managers and the man on the street, the man in every position from politician, okay, down to a guy who's just hanging on the corner. And so I get there, man, and I was like in a culture shock. And I never forget, I would hear people screaming like it was in the South, watermelon, ice cold watermelon, 25 cents. It's 50 cents if you eat it twice. You'll be so cool in your body when you get a slice. Man, Harlem was fantastic. And I had these wonderful, wonderful white teachers. Yeah, I'm going to say it. I had some wonderful draft dodging white teachers. They were the best teachers ever. So smart. And they would teach us, you know, all kinds of songs. And I never forget, man. I'm in there, you know, I'm coming from a dry Italian and maybe teachers and Irish. And they, you know, they let you know in the Bronx that a lot of them had a disdain for you. But I go into this school, man, in Harlem. And the first thing I hear, man, out of the class, say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. Say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. Man, teachers would get down with guitars and sit on a rug in the middle of the classroom. And they could sing, man. And they get on their thing. Anybody here see my old friend John? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but the good, they die young. I just turn around and he's gone. These things made an impression on me. It made me see things that I couldn't see before. It made me realize things in myself. And Even growing up in the project, man, I developed a sense of self, of personhood, of what it meant to be a black man in this world, what it meant to be an African. So I was never afraid of Africanness. It didn't come on me because I saw little children, okay, with flies on their face. I knew that we were a magnificent people, that we came from magnificent places, from a magnificent continent, and that continent was Africa. And I knew that people said that we were dumb, but how many people could read the talking drum? Man, those drums can hum. And you know what they would say? Give me my freedom. Give it to me today. I want my freedom and I want it right away. I yearn to be free. I got to be free. Nah, being in Harlem was so enchanting. I remember a friend of mine, a good friend of mine to this day, her mother used to be a dancer for Baba Alatunje. A lot of people don't know, but in the 50s and the 60s, a Yoruba priest came to America, to New York, and he started his own dance troupe and group. And some of these young ladies and men, they took these things back home. And for the first time, I went to my friend's house. She had an altar near her door. And one day they invited us to a ceremony, me and my friends, and they began to play the drums. And they wore these brightly colored outfits, these beautiful mosaic outfits. And they talked about Obatala, Ogun, Oshun. And I know some of you Christians, when I say some of this, you're going to get tight. I didn't know who these people were. I remember them talking about these deities, talking about these black gods from this black land, from this place they call Africa. And I was spellbound. See, I knew I wasn't like white kids. We didn't look alike. We didn't think alike. But I didn't know so much. And I went back to my father and I talked to my dad and I said, Dad, you know, who are these people? He said, son, that's from where we come from. I said, Pop, I thought we came from the South. He said, yeah, we come from the South, son. But before we came to the South in chains, we came from a mighty land. Our people were in conflict. And as I didn't understand, you know, when you're a kid, you don't ask further questions. You just, oh, okay, Dad. But you think about it and you ponder it inside of your mind. And so as I began to grow older, my father would insist that I look at Like It Is. Like It Is by the late Gil Noble during the 70s. A brother whose family came from Jamaica was a journalist who educated us, and we began to learn things about and names about leaders that we had never heard about before. You know, we knew about Martin Luther King and Medgar Evers. Some of us, very few of us, knew about Malcolm. I knew about Malcolm X, you know, our prince. And how could I not? Because I was in Harlem and Malcolm X has a boulevard, right? I think sometimes it's Martin Luther King and Malcolm X Boulevard together. So we began to learn as young people about ourselves, that we are part of a great family, a diaspora, whether we come from the streets of Harlem, whether we come from the boogie down Bronx, Queens, whether we come from Staten Island, okay, we all originally came, even if we come from Jamaica, Barbados, or Trinidad, we are one people. As Mosiah Marcus Garvey said, one heart, one aim, one God, one destiny. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you about this Ubuntu King, I don't know everything. I don't know everything about Ubuntu. I don't know everything about life. I don't claim to be omnipresent, omnipotent. I'm a regular guy from the hood. I grabbed myself up only because my mother believed in me. She believed in me more than anybody and anything, more than my father, more than my uncles. I mean, the only person that believed in me more than my mom, God bless her soul, was God. And she was a beautiful, dark-skinned, chocolate black woman who worked hard, never drank, never smoked. And she raised me to be a man. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful she is now amongst the ancestors. As she has had all her life, she will continue to teach all of us. Ashe to her and to all of those ancestors and those beautiful women who held us together in the struggle. So when I hear men saying, I don't need a woman, women don't do nothing, women don't build this, women don't do, those are fools. The man, the woman, and the child is the real trimargary. Not the Father, the Son, or the Holy Spirit, but the man, the woman, and the child is our destiny. And we cannot go any further without her. She needs us, and we need her, because she is truly paradise on earth. And anybody who has to say anything any different is a fool. I don't care if you look at the least of us. You know what my man said, Tupac? Even as a fiend mother, she was still a black queen mother. She took her fingers and she wet it with her saliva and she washed the coal out of his eyes. Shout out to the Wu-Tang. There's nothing more precious, more beautiful, more elegant than the love of a black woman. I don't care how big, how small, how short, how tall. I have love for them all. And I will never renounce any of my sisters or my brothers for anything and anyone, whether you come from Harlem, the Bronx, whether you come from Barbados or Trinidad or Jamaica. I don't care if you come from Guyana. I don't care if you come from Lagos, Ghana, the Ivory Coast, Benin, South Africa, Tanzania. We are one people. Ubuntu. I am. Because you are. And the only way we're going to get out of this is if we work together. That's all I got to say tonight. It doesn't appear that anybody is coming on, but that's all right. God bless and good night. And remember, unity starts in the mind. And we can do anything with our minds if we just believe that we can. I believed it. I took myself Nah, I didn't take myself. My family, my community took me out of poverty. They took me from an impoverished mind. I didn't do anything by myself. I cannot do anything by myself. I need people. People need each other. You're not my competition. I'm not afraid of another person from another country getting something and having something in life. I want them to have it all. I want to have it all. I want what I want for myself. I want for my brother because I'm truly my brother's keeper. I don't walk around with a jealous heart. And no, I'm not 6 feet tall. And no, I don't play basketball. I could care less. God has given everybody a gift and a talent. He doesn't give one to another more than he's given you. You have to learn what your talents are. And once you learn what you have to give to the world, you will be able to give it and to deliver it. And not only will you be able to do it for yourself, you will be able to do it for others, which is the greatest gift of them all. Your ability to transcend just yourself. Because we all are born from a woman and we're all going to die. That's for sure. What we do in the meantime, in the in-between time, will define ourselves as men. I'm putting it on the men, brothers and sisters. I'm putting it on the men. Because too many times I hear these brothers get on stage or talk about the women and how ratchet they are. Well, you know what? Our women are tired. They had to carry us through the Middle Passage. They had to carry us through Jim Crow. They had to carry us through mass incarceration. And then when we got our stuff together and we started getting equal pay for equal jobs, then we said, she ain't good enough for us no more. We don't want her. Her hair ain't straight enough for us. She ain't light enough for us. We got to show people that we got an integration thing going on. But I'm here to tell you, sisters, that what affects you affects me. What affects you and me affects our family. What affects you and me affects our family and the community. What affects you and me, our family, the community, affects our continent. What affects you and me, the family, the community, and the continent affects every Black person, everybody of African descent, whether you're continental African, whether you're Caribbean, whether you are so-called Black American, whatever you call your name in this African mosaic, you feel that pain. Whether you're in Cuba, whether you're in Puerto Rico, whether you're in Brazil, whether you're in Nicaragua, Cuba, you will feel that pain because of that melanin in your skin. And people will say, man, everybody's skin, folks, ain't your kin, folks. Well, you want to say that's true? Seem like the other people, everybody who has lack of melanin, they seem to find themselves to be family. But we can't find ourselves. The self-hatred is why Black people struggle to work together, why they reject Ubuntu. It's a funny thing because white folks love Ubuntu. They loved it so much they created an open source of code called Linux using Ubuntu principles. Man, white folks love Ubuntu so much, they're in colleges and universities all across this world, studying how they can integrate systems. Eventually white folks are going to just tell us, America was started in Ubuntu. They had many white people converge together, all with one common thing: to integrate into a society of white people. The funny thing is, these people who call themselves foundational Black Americans, my misguided brothers, I still love you. I love you, but I know that you're being taken down the wrong street in the wrong time of night, and you're taken into a house of ill repute. These white people are calling themselves heritage Americans. They are saying this is their heritage, that they are the foundation of America. Okay. America can have a foundation all she wants to. Everything that America and Europe needs to survive is in the cradle of civilization. It comes out of Africa. All of the coltan, the uranium, the platinum, the diamonds come out of Africa. But yet, we don't want to associate with Africa or Africans because, it's not cool. But if you go to Africa, and no, I haven't been, I've seen pictures, you're going to see a bunch of white folks online. Can't wait to get to Africa. Can't wait to get the sapphires, the rubies, the gold, the uranium, the coltan. They can't wait to rob the mother. But yet and still, we can't see a way not to be up under their nuts. Because we're going to be the foundation of patriotism. We fought in every single war. Yes, we did. What do we get out of that? Jail cells, slums. We built wealth. We certainly did, only for other people to take it by stealing and killing. So when I look at that struggle and I see another brother who's dark and lovely like me, puts his little money together and really wants to come to America and to survive, why would I hate him? Why would I disparage him? Why would I say if he yearns to be like me, that he's cosplaying me? Are white people cosplaying each other? Are the white people coming to America for an opportunity? Are white people coming for a better way of life? Are white people coming yearning to be free? But you understand that these people who are against that, they don't want to be free. They want to be slaves. They want to be pets. And so someone will say, you know what, Dollar Bill, you Ubuntu King, you've never been to Africa. And I'm just going to tell them, neither did Marcus Garvey. He had never been to Africa, but he started the largest Back to Africa movement and the largest organization of Black people, over 1 million strong. Man, I want to be like him. Never been to Africa. You see, Moses, the lawgiver for the Jewish people, he never made it to Israel. He never made it to the promised land because the Most High said, I told you to speak to the rock. And when you speak to the rock is going to open up. And when the rock opens up, the water is going to come out of the rock, and the people of Israel will see the power of God. But you see, Moses didn't believe enough. So he smoked the rock. He took a stick and he broke the rock. And when the rock broke, the water came out and the people were able to drink and not die. So I might not make it with you to Africa, brothers and sisters. I might be right here stuck in America, practicing the principles of Ubuntu, waking up my community, interfacing with other Africans in the diaspora, other Africans in Africa. I might never make it, like Martin Luther King said. I might not make it with you to the mountaintop, but you will. It's not important that I make it. That might not be my mission. That might not even be my calling. My mission and my calling may be to call the people, to make the people think twice, to make them understand that in unity, there's strength. Maybe they'll say, you know what? We can start practicing Swahili. We can start practicing Wolof. We can start practicing Mandinka. We can find one language where we don't have to be influenced by others, that we can take for ourselves, that we can communicate, that we can interface with. I don't have to change you because you're a Hausa. I don't need to change you because you're a Fulani. I don't have to change you because you're an Igbo. Man has basic needs. Basic needs. I don't need to have to tell you about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to have needs, certain things done in your life. You understand? And when you do have those things, you can put any kind of name on it you want. Any kind of name. Okay? And so once we have what our physical needs, okay, food, water, shelter, safety, to be loved and belong, to have esteem, to have knowledge and to learn, and self-actualization, those needs on a hierarchy that all human beings need. I can respect your culture. The great thing about being an African American and a Caribbean, they're going to say tonight, and he said he was a Caribbean. I have some Caribbean blood in me. I'm not ashamed of it. Absolutely not. I love my brothers and my sisters in the struggle. And so I'm proud of all of my ancestors. All of them. Even if there's only one or two from an island, I feel infinity with all the people. I know more people from the island and islands than I do from America. And so I love them. They love me. We love each other. I'm never going to stop loving them. And I hope they never stop loving me. I love my African continental brothers across, even those that I fight with in the struggle, my Nigerian brothers. I still love you because you are me and I am you. And nothing can ever come between it. And you know, I said many times I was going to go, but you know, my grandfather was a bishop, and sometimes I just get super excited. Ufundi, all right. The brother had said something. Let me see if I can bring it up. Okay, I'm messing up on a Ufundi, and I. All right, let me hit you back on here. Why is it going that? Okay. Yes, Ubuntu King. You can dissect Kwame Nkrumah's famous statement that I am an African, not because I was born in Africa, but rather that Africa was born in me. It's an African state of mind. Absolutely. Absolutely an African state of mind. And we need to nurture and develop the African state of mind. I like to give a lot of thought about that because to be an African is not an easy thing when the world is against you for just being who you are, right? It's not an easy thing. But I salute all my brothers and sisters who are Africans, whether they were born in Africa, whether they were born in Caribbean, wherever they may have been born, that the spirit of our ancestors are in joy. They realize that their dreams have become materialized and they can hold their heads up high in the afterlife and say, there's hope for my people, that we shall not perish. And that's all for me tonight. I want to thank Brother Baruti for his great words, his great friendship. I even want to thank Brother Kala, who right now we're on the outs, but I still love you. I still love my brother. I still respect my brother. I'm not going to say anything bad about my brother because what's between men is between men. And one day we'll sit down and we'll talk about it. One day we'll sit down and we might even have a little taste on it. But the most important thing is that we all have to learn how to handle ourselves accordingly. Okay? That we are African people and we've got our way of doing things. We're going to use Ubuntu and other African systems to help us, to get us where we need to be. So when we close our eyes, we know that we've handed our people to people who are going to love, nurture, and help our people. And we'll create a world in our motherland for us. So good night, my brothers. Peace. Ungawa, Black Power.